What's up, y'all? Jacob Owens here with the Buff Nerds, and we're back today to talk about the top 5 in-camera effects that you can do to get a really cool image. So first, we're gonna start off with split diopter. This is an OG in our kit. We've used it for the last 5 or so, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 and 10 years on our music videos. It's a great tool that is meant for something else and some other purpose in film other than what we're gonna talk about today, but how you can get just kind of this cool, very like doubling, I would say ghosting kind of effect inside of your music videos or performances. And so this is it right here, split diopter. It's basically this piece of glass that is used to get 2 focal planes in film, but in this instance, what you're gonna take it and use it for is to basically hold with one hand and dodge and move in front of a lens to get kind of this really cool like ghosting like effect that you'll see in a bunch of music videos. We've used it on a lot of projects, and basically this is kind of like an OG secret tip, is taking the split diopter and taking it using it not for what it's intended for by getting focus on 2 different planes, but instead like really getting shifty with it in front of the lens, shaking it, moving it around, moving it closer to get this really cool ghost-like effect, flaring. It does some really cool in-camera stuff. So that is number 1 on the list, is a split field diopter. Number 2 is the triangle prism from Prism Lens Effects. This prism comes with a built-in mount right here, so you can mount off of either a Noga arm or ultralight arm or a handle, so you have a lot more control over where, whether you're going handheld to dial it in and move it around in front of a lens, or for, whether it's video or photo, or again, if you want to mount it off a Noga arm and, say here's your camera here, and you want to basically fixate or fix the lens or the prism in front of the lens. Because it's got this mount right here, you're able to Noga arm off of the matte box or the camera body and hook it right in and mount it so it's like built into the lens. And with the triangle prism, you can do a lot of really cool stuff. You can kind of get very reflective a look depending on which side you hit of the triangle. The prism does different things. You can get, like I said, kind of a more blurry like ghost-like effect. You can get something that's straight reflective and duplicates the image, something that honestly like kind of splits the playing field. And up here is where you see your clean image, and down below you see a complete reflection of like what's below you or behind you. So it's really cool how you're able to mount it and really play with it, dial it in. Prisms have been used for a long time for photography as well as video production, but this one you can actually mount off your camera or any sort of quarter 20 receiving end. So that's another little one that we use all the time ourselves. Number 3 is HBM, or Hollywood Black Magic. So this is a filter HBM, and this is like I said, one of our favorites. I know a lot of cinematographers really love to use this to soften and kind of bloom the highlights, give it more, take the digital edge off an image. A lot of time with these 8K cameras, red, it's just very sharp and digital, and it's just, this kind of helps emulate the look of film a little bit. It softens it up, gives a nice glow. And whenever I DP a project, even when I direct, I pretty much always have one of these filters in my matte box, whether it is quarter strength, half strength, you go 1/8, full. So there's all different types of ranges of strengths, and each one is a little more intense than the other. So this would be least intense. As you go up, you go down the line, it gets more intense, with full being full HBM. And so this is a really good filter that we use all the time. There's other filters that kind of do the similar thing, like Pro Mist. I've made videos in the past talking about Pro Mist, but HBM, or Hollywood Black Magic filter, is definitely the go-to. Number 4, we have the Prism Lens Effects Kaleidoscope filter. So the Kaleidoscope filter is for some really cool in-camera effects where It's very much like a kaleidoscope. You get a lot of this really doubling kind of like effect that is, being refracted. The image is being refracted and doubled all along this filter, with there being a center focal point. So in the references we're showing you, there's always going to be a center focal point. Then around, you're kind of getting that duplicated image. And so this is a really cool filter for just like really cool stylish cutaways, B-roll, performance, intermixing in between if someone's kind of, if it's a more trippy video. There's just so many different ways to use this filter, and it can just screw on right on the front of your lens. The Sigmas that we regularly use are 82 mil. The filter only comes in 77, but you can get a simple step up, step down ring for whatever size lens that you have. Like I said, this can go up with an adapter or down. You can fit it on smaller lenses, bigger lenses, but this has been used quite a bit in a lot of big productions. We use it on pretty much every one of our sets. We always try to find a way to work it in because it just kind of really creates a really cool effect. And that's another one that you just throw right onto the front of your lens. Last but not least, we have a champagne flute, or really any kind of clear glass. It could be a smaller glass, any sort of glass. It could be a beer bottle as well. But taking a champagne flute and dodging it in front of the lens is kind of where you get a more DIY approach. The other ways are a little they're more professional, actual film photo products. But you can do a similar type of effect to kind of like a split diopter by taking a piece of glass or a champagne flute and kind of just holding it out and moving in front of the lens. And these effects always work best when you're dodging something in front of the lens. When you're using like a 50 mil or tighter, when you use a wide angle, you actually start to see the object, and that's not what you want to do. You want to have about 50 to 100 mil, and that really compresses the image and allows you to not see that glass or the piece of glass, but rather you're really compressing through that piece of glass. And so that's when you start to get a lot of these cool effects where it's like ghosting and refracting and reflecting. And this video in particular, was a split diopter, but you can pretty much dang near get the same thing with a champagne flute or another piece of glass. I mean, that's what the split diopter is made out of. It's a piece of glass, that's just cut in half. So again, be very careful too if you are going to break the glass or break a bottle and mount it in front, or gaff tape it in front, or hold it in front. You are working with broken glass, so just be very careful, period, when you're doing something like this. But this is a much more DIY approach to doing something if you don't, have the money to shell out for any of those other more professional products. So that concludes our top 5 in-camera effects that you can do. These are honestly some of our favorites in all things that we have done and used on all of our, whether it's commercials, music videos, films. There's some other stuff too where you can get funky with, light bulbs and different things as well. There's not really an end to what you can throw in front of your camera to get some cool effects. But these are without a doubt the top 5 we've used in our career here at Buff Nerds Media, and will continue to use. So hopefully this give you guys a few little tips or tricks for your next projects. This video was brought to you by PRISM Lens Effects, handcrafted mountable prisms and filters made in the heart of LA, designed for filmmakers and photographers who are looking to create unique in-camera effects. Use promo code BuffNerd10, that's all caps, BuffNerd10, for $10 off any order. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and click on that next episode button. You're gonna learn some cool shit. You might as well just click on it now so you don't have to go back and watch it later. Don't worry, we'll go ahead, we'll wait. Just click.